Little food for thought. When I was a child, or coming up in the educational system that I was brought up in, I started off in a private school, and I went to public school. In the private school, I don't know, I mentally grasped the concept of, the smartest person makes the most money. That makes sense to me. If it makes sense, it's very easy for me to, I guess, understand problems and situations. It's clerical. When I was a child, I remember my first math lesson, my first reading experience, and I had to explain it to myself after I was taught. And the best way I explained, math to myself was pretty much add, subtract, and then as we got into multiplication and division kind of was weird to me because it would go into decimal numbers, and I didn't really understand it at the given time that I was introduced to division and multiplication. But I had to rehearse it to myself to make it clerical to me. No matter what the teacher taught me, I needed to know the principles, not the whole context. I just needed to know the principles. When I was learning to read, I would, explain all right, I talk. This is how I talk. This is the noise I'm making. These are the, I guess, alphabet that put it together. It made sense to me of reading. The, book, etc., word for word knowledge. And then as we got into math, my teachers would make it a game, a competitive competition of the wittiest, who was better at math, or who was we had groups, the children that needed more, I guess, help in reading language. They would take the time with them to show them that this word is say all right, that's what this word looks like, the, and then it progresses as you get older. And math, I had to study my timetables. I had to go over, rehearse I don't really know math as well as, I don't have a calculated brain, but at the same time of memorization, I know my multiplication tables off the top of my head just from constantly using them throughout the life. And it's just a memorization thing. But as I got older and got into public schools, I figured out that what they were teaching me, I was already more or well advanced in than the other students. So I kind of felt, I don't know how to explain it. I want to say a geek or a nerd, but it wasn't that. I felt bad for being more, I guess, educated than them. I don't know how to put it. When I got to third grade, I was writing in cursive, and when I wrote my papers, the other classmates couldn't read my journal, and I had to switch my whole complex thoughts of, all right, let me dumb myself down and go back to writing. I didn't even know how to write, I guess, the alphabet and without cursive when I got to school. And then I had to reflip my switch to get back into, writing alphabetically or whatever it's called. I don't know the really term for the alphabet writing that we use. It's not cursive, but it's on another level. And then as I'm coming up in school, I switched over into W.L. Smith, as it's called here. And I was in community hall is what they called it. I stayed with the same group of students through the whole duration of third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. I remember those times. I remember I forged a letter. I got in trouble, and I got my teacher sending a letter home, and I forged it. I didn't know anything. I was in third grade. Well, I got my butt tore up for forging my dad's name on a teacher's note. I learned what forgery was. And then fourth grade, that's when 9/11 happened. Or no, that was a Challenger. Somewhere in there, 9/11 and Space Challenger happened, because I remember Miss King. And Miss King's husband was a Senate. I believe that's what it was. Fourth grade, a long time ago. But Mr. King, I don't know, just something to be inspired by, I guess. And Miss King would read to us every day after lunch, and we read many of books that I can't even remember half their titles now. But it was I just sit there after lunch, let the food calm down, and just listen to her read. I remember many stories she read. But Hatchet was one of my favorite ones. Swan, there was something about a swan book we read. But there's many of them that I can't really make clerical now of the titles of them. I wish I knew them. or the book she read to me. It intrigued my imagination. It's like watching a movie, but mentally to read to me. But it's hard for me being an ADHD person to be able to sit and focus on reading. That's why I have Audible. Audible reads to me. I can do whatever I'm doing and not hold a book in front of my face, and my vision's going bad as well. So it's beneficial to have Audible. For me, a person who enjoys books. But as I got into high school, or middle school, I guess, I started sports, girls, beginning of teenage years, yada, yada, yada. The popularity, the cliques that I guess middle school instills. And then it just progressed into slacking in education and not really caring. I'd pass, I never failed a grade, but at the same time, I didn't give my full 100% effort. And as it grows and gets bigger and bigger, or school leveling up, it made it very hard for me to, keep work, football practice, my education and my lifestyle and my friends, and just living a kid's life, friends, parties, yada yada yada. As it went into high school, dances, proms, you name it, and girlfriend, yada yada yada. But high school never really taught me anything that I use in today's world except the pure basic principles, government, economics, the algebra. But I don't know if I learned it from them. At the same time, I didn't know how to apply it. And then when I graduated, I went straight into the workforce. I knew I couldn't afford a university piece of paper or degree. And I couldn't afford a junior college either because I didn't have the funds for it. So I had to go to work. I worked for a few years, paid off a truck, had a wreck, went through some, depressive times coming up, 23, 24, 25 years old. And then 25, I looked myself in the mirror and said, you have to do something. This isn't working. I went and signed up for online FAFSA program. I got a government grant to go get a technical degree in welding so I could have some credibility of, I can weld it at the, if I ever needed that to fall back on. And I got a welding degree, graduated on the president's list, took pride in it. But as I go into the workforce, my resume and all my work experience doesn't, because during my 22 to 24, I was doing just jobs, just to, experimentation of how the, different skill levels. But in my resume, if I go to fill out my resume, I don't know how to justify that I work, I'm smart, I'm capable due to my resume. It doesn't, I can't go apply for a biology, position or a chemistry lab. My credibility isn't there. How would one gain credibility in today's structure? I believe the system has been so broke that it's so one-sided that if you're fortunate enough to be born in a family that can afford, a Harvard degree or whatever pristine college you think of, I don't know. Could we possibly implement I don't know. Well, here's where I come from. A library is free, full of knowledge, government paid for. 110% free. Book is knowledge. It's just a little bit of effort to read that book. And if you can obtain the knowledge, much less be educated on the knowledge. Education is just to bring out in a time of need to be educated. Education to bring forth and, apply to your life to, show you're educated. But how is a prestigious college hold more water and have more stability that's, paid for? All they did was pay for that piece of paper at the end of the day. Unless you're fortunate enough to become an outstanding student in high school and, not work and be able to devote your life to studying and becoming a valedictorian and getting a scholarship. Most Americans have to work coming up through high school. But the system's broke. Been broke. It's one-sided. I hate to use race. I won't use race. If an American child graduates high school, say they decide to go in the workforce, they go get a skill. It may be burger flipper, it may be a janitor, it may be whatever job they can get to, implement themselves into the workforce. It doesn't matter to me. I've done it all. But at the same time, at If the American youth or child wants to go to college and better their education, the tests that are implemented from the ACT, the SAT, the state tests, etc., does not classify that child incapable of learning at all. That's kind of the whole, I guess, structure of an educational system, is to teach, not to judge what the student needs to be taught. Maybe my implementations are, I guess, a way to think about the educational system. Why do we send a child 12 years through an educational system that is beneficial to maybe a minute, small percentage of the children that go through that course, no matter the state? Each child is unique. Every human is unique. Every American is unique. Why do they justify what that person's good at by what I'm good at? I know for a fact half of the valedictorians can't weld, can't work, can't apply themselves in a workful manner. But I also know that I'm not able to, do the paperwork or their logistics. So it's a matter of what the American is capable, that they want to do. I cannot, mentally be capable enough to sit with a load of paperwork and stack of papers. It gives me anxiety much more than a hard day, 18-hour work day in the blistering, I guess, heat or sleet, whatever you want to call it. I'd rather work in those elements than have a stack of paper in front of me. That's just the person I am. At the same time, the valedictorian of mine, she was a good friend of mine, she wouldn't want to work in those elements the same way I wouldn't want to do her work. It's just, it is what it is. At the same time, the system needs to be worried about the child as a whole American and their capabilities of what they're good at. If the child works on their best expectations of what they want of their life, it changes. It does change. I mean, I don't have the same dreams as when I was 5 or 15 or 25. It changes. It grows. You're supposed to better your living conditions, or you better yourself. If they focused on that child and took time to make appropriate, it's America. We can set up everything on this dirt. But the child, why not take the time to go, hey, what do you like to do? All right, you like to play video games? All right, come over here. I got some video games for you to test. Oh, you like to sing? Well, come here. We got a recording studio for you. What kind of songs you got? Oh, you like TV? Well, come here. We make a commercial. Come here. Let me pay you. Let me pay you. Let me pay you. Let me pay you to help me, to help you, to help us. The economical structure. If you worry about negative, I guess, law of attraction. If you worry about negative all your life, no matter what stipulations you put in, buying a house, it's a negative right off the bat. You buy that property, that house. You start thinking about the negative of what's got to go into that house. But say you don't think about the negatives. Say it is what it is. You handle the negatives. That negative automatically becomes into a positive due to the fact that, property is the only thing that increases value. Very interesting. But what property increases value and what property becomes, commercial property? That's on economics. But education, the youth don't understand that to even implement a structure or stability to better the future for themselves. They're not educated enough or taught by the teaching force to, hey, this is how adulthood works. Of you got them government up there, stuff rolls downhill. You got to worry about the roof. The roof leaks, the foundation will crack, and everything goes to stuff. If the foundation ain't there, the roof won't stand. It's all the structure. So I could be wrong in my ways of thought and hopes and dreams for a better America and a better, or I guess bettering of the youth of the nation, but people deem me crazy. But funny thing is, crazy people have a tendency of changing the world. But usually the stability of that person and their integrity is what deems it either positive or negative. I like to stay on the positive side of life. I've worked beside many of ethnicities. I didn't give a damn what creed they were from. Can they do the job? Or do I got to do their job? That's all I was worried about. I guess being open-minded to go, they're going to do it a certain way and I'm going to do it a certain way. Let's make sure the job's done no matter how it gets done is my overlying stipulation. When I was in school, I had group projects. I didn't care who was in the group. I mean, some of my friends are black, some of my friends are Korean, Chinese, Native American. The list goes on and on. This is America. And that's kind of what we are. Just a bunch of nationalities that become Americans. It is what it is. But, I mean, I don't really view a racist agenda as a Southern Mississippian. I think it's borderline idiotic to even consider race a factor in the stipulations of anything. Is the person capable of making themselves better? Because I meet people all the time, white, black, Chinese, whatever creed you want to name, that don't give a shit. They just, I guess we're going to be here and we're just going to, I got to go to work today. My cousin's one of them. He just, he's not a go-getter, and that's fine. He paints. He makes, he's not happy about it, but he ain't going to be happy. It's just the way it is. People don't want to be happy at all. That's what I've come to understand in my studies. Working, education, coming up, just living life, I guess. In school, I used to always try to be the person that put the smile on other people's faces. No matter if I had to be funny or out of character or whatever you want to call it, I try to make people smile. Because I believe people need that sometimes. And then as I got into the workforce, I was always cracking jokes. The work be done, but I'm over there cracking jokes. I'm not serious, I guess, enough for the corporate world. But at the same time, I mean, this is the best life we're going to live, regardless if we make it a hell or a heaven. So why not make it a heaven? You know how much land is on the United States? I bet you every American couldn't touch hands if we spread out across this land. I know we couldn't. Urban populations have made that, I don't know, you'd have to go into the 1950s to understand urban populations. And after the World War II, the baby boomers, those economical growth, the subdivisions, they could pop up houses, boom, 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 boom. Speed and production speed. It works, sort of, but I mean, it's pretty borderline, what's it called? What's the best word for it? I study concentration camps. That'd be a concentration camp environment to me, because if I pay that much for a piece of property, I don't want my neighbor to be that close to me, in other words. But that's just my southern raising and just not being a very good, people person. But at the same time, I love people. It's just sometimes when I'm at home, that's my home. I want to be, I want to come outside naked and go run around like a bear or whatever, not worry about if the neighbor's going to see me. But that's my country boy side. But America's future is dependent on our youth and their educational system and their workforce and their, understanding of how America is America. Because, I mean, as much as I don't like to get all political and politic and, be the voice of reasoning, I mean, I like the voice of reasoning, but at the same time, if our youth doesn't get educated, then when I become old and gray, I'm not going to have an America lifestyle to raise up my family or whatever you want to call it. And neither is any other American. They're not going to have the structure, the stability. And it's scary to think that the youth isn't being educated enough to, better America for our future. And I may be wrong. That may not go for every state. But the way I watch the youth nowadays, from my friends' kids and my little cousins to, just hanging out with my friends and them having kids. I don't have kids at the moment, but just, I guess, observing their curiosity. They're in their phone. They sit there. When you ask them a question, they're not very secure in their thoughts, or I don't know. I don't understand them at all. But it's a different generation. I wouldn't understand them. The same way baby boomers don't understand us. But it seems like a failure. I don't know. It seems like a main line for disaster, because they're not going to want to work. If they do go to work, they're not going to get a job done. And as I was talking about in TikTok the other day, everybody is essential. From the person that built this truck, to the person that made this shirt, to the person that got this water bottle. It's just everything is in sync. It rolls together. The person that put this water bottle in the wrapper and got it assembled and delivered it off and dropped it off, and who sold it to me? All essentials, so I can do this right here. Teamwork always makes the dream work. But one bad link in a chain starts, I don't know if you ever had to work with the team effort, but one link in a chain goes bad that puts stress on the rest of the chain. It's just the way it is. You can't have a weak link unless you have the stability to stand up for that weak link. And I mean, it happens sometimes, but that's why the stronger links in the chain come up and able to grab the weak link's hand and, you know, push forward. So I hope America understands the stipulations that what we have been put through as American adults isn't the way we need to let our youth be introduced to. Because when I was in the 4th grade, I don't know if y'all remember 9/11. I do. That was when I was a kid. I got to watch from day one, A1. I remember the 10-year war in Iran and Iraq, Saddam, Osama bin Laden. And I didn't understand any of it at the time or age I was doing, but I was curious. Why not investigate? And then we progressed with technology, and I was able to pretty much have infinite intelligence in my phone, the very tips of my fingers. Very interesting how the universe works in mysterious ways. This system right here, we don't need teachers. We need to, we need teachers, but not in the way that's been going. The system's broke. Imagine the child having the same fun-like qualities as, a phone. A simple phone. Simple technology that's used every day by many across the world, actually. It is what it is. But imagine every kid having that same freedom of infinite knowledge. Whatever the child is enthusiastic about, research it. Come back to have dreams of, whatever the child wants to imagine, whatever imagination a child has is relevant. You know why? Everything that is made on this earth that is man-made was once in somebody's brain. It was a dream. That's all it was. This truck, that car, that brick. Well, brick's a little bit older, but the paneling, the light bulb, it was all in somebody's imagination. A child has the best imagination. An adult or an elderly person has the best wisdom. They know. There's a difference between realistic and fictional. To me, I may seem crazy, but I think Elon Musk is insane for wanting to go to Mars. What's the point? Let's fix the planet we got first, and then we'll go to Mars. If that's even remotely possible due to my understanding of the solar system. But that's on a whole nother level. We got so much to live for. We don't really have nothing to lose at this point. Why not keep Trump in office? Why not keep it the way it was going before this pandemic and riots started? I was doing exceptionally well due to the situations that we were put into the pandemic. The pandemic pretty much kicked my legs out from underneath me. But it didn't stop me. I just had to switch gears. I don't really give up. And I don't believe the child should give up just because of their situation. If a door shuts, it wasn't the right door, go to another one. Open up another door. Kick it down. Wave at somebody. But this day and age, you can be charged with trespassing, all kind of names, hurtful, harmful, people that don't care about themselves, much less the integrity of America. And then they're deemed credible when they go to speak. That's very ignorant to me, but maybe we could change. But maybe America don't want to change because it's addicted to the pain, the stress, the drama. I guess we're drawn, cursed, and blessed, but I ain't changed my mind. I'm climbing out this abyss. And that's Eminem. Either we stick together and unite, become one America, no matter race, and we push for the integrity of our nation and the sanctity of our youth, we may have a possible, human evolution. Who knows what would happen in 15 years if we all joined together in a one common goal of economical powerhouse, economical boom, all kind of just astronomical contemplations. Just, sky's the limit. Lil Wayne. I ride for America. I ride for my people. At the end of the day, we all need each other. It don't matter. It don't matter. If you are flipping burgers at McDonald's and I pull up to get me a Happy Meal for the kids or for my little cousins or whatever, and you put a toy in there and that's the wrong daggum toy, that affects the kids. It's that cool, but at the same time, if you mess up my order and, I don't get my chicken wrap sandwich and I get a fish sandwich, I'm going to be upset. And it's just how everything rolls together. And if I go to Taco Bell, it doesn't matter. I'm there to get food. You're there to, it's a job. If you don't like it, you're not a tree. Go somewhere else. Somebody will come up and do that job. I promise you. Never be, thought to think you're stuck somewhere. You're not a tree. We have the ability to prosper, grow, move around. If you don't like it, go to another job. I've bounced around from jobs, not the point of I was dissatisfied. It's just I felt that I wasn't going to benefit in the long term from, being at a job. But as it swings back around to education, our youth, I don't believe, is taught to have that mindset, that integrity, to not be a complainer, but see how you can stop complaining, or see what is causing your complaints and fix it. If you don't, hell, one man was sitting there going, it's hot here. I'm going to invent an air conditioner. Boom, air conditioner. One man goes, it's dark. Light bulb. Boom, light bulb. One man said, I'm tired of riding on this daggum horse and carriage. Harrison Ford. Boom. Model T. It's business innovation is all it is, but it starts with an idea and a dream. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. But at the same time, Rosa Parks, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Because it don't matter how hard you fight for the bettering of mankind and American dreams and values, there's always a critic over there going, well, he had a better opportunity than me. I said, hell, we're all Americans. You had the same opportunities. You could have made the same phone calls. You could have sent the same emails. You could have had the same original idea, but you didn't. So now you blame me or us or America or whoever you can contemplate to blame it on. And then, there you are, complaining. Instead of going, well, I guess I could do better. Nobody will ever blame themselves for their own faults. Me personally, I love to blame myself. If I mess up, I'm going to point at it, say, I effed up here. That's where I messed up. I corrected, so don't do that again. Whether it be from injuries, from, idiotic, childish behavior, from stupidity, whatever you want to label it as. I shot myself in the foot with a BB gun one time just because I believe it wouldn't hurt. My idiotic, dumb, childish self goes, there ain't no way this hurts. It does. It does. But I was lucky that was a BB gun. You feel me? I learned real quick. Stupid hurts. So, and this is my first YouTube, speech. I'm Doodle Dude, but Dude_1992. I have an Instagram, I have a TikTok. My Snapchat's different, but that's for my own personal fan page or whatever you want to call it, friends or whatever. That's how I communicate or like to communicate, because I can send pictures a lot better and more efficient. But this is my first one that I said I got to speak up. If you feel the same way and you're tired of an oppressed America, speak up. Hit the subscribe button. I think that's how this works. I don't know. I'm going to try the YouTube lifestyle. I try to keep it at 30 minutes. I mean, that's a good enough time attention span, I believe. I hope so. See how it goes. Southern Miss, to the top.